Dreaming of white sandy beaches, crystal clear waters, and a laid-back lifestyle? Listen, moving to the Emerald Coast can be definitely a little bit daunting, but in just 4 pretty simple steps, we can definitely make that dream a reality. So if you'd like to move your family here to the Emerald Coast and you want to figure out exactly what that process is, then stay tuned, this video is for you. What is going on? My name is Andrew, or of course you can call me Mongo, and today we're going to be breaking down exactly step by step what to do if you're looking to move here to the beautiful Emerald Coast, whether it's Pensacola, Panama City, Destin, Miramar, Navarre, Fort Walton, Crestview, Niceville, or any of the towns in between that I didn't mention. We've definitely got you covered, and in reality it's not as difficult as you might think. So let's get started. Step number 1 is a pretty simple one. All you've got to do is reach out to us, or of course your favorite real estate professional here along the Emerald Coast, and start the buyer consultation process. We're going to do a lot of things in this buyer consultation process. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour, and yes, it can be done electronically, so via Zoom, or of course, if you happen to be here visiting, or you want to fly and see us in person, then, well, that's definitely an option as well. The buyer consultation is going to help us help you figure out exactly where you want to move to. Because sure, you might want these white sandy beaches and beautiful waters and the laid back lifestyle, and maybe you visited here, maybe you vacationed here, and that's all great, but where you want to live might be a little bit different from where you have visited before. So that's what we'll do, is we'll first start out trying to figure out what your needs are, from the type of property you'd like to live in, whether it's a house or a condo, a townhome, what have you, and also the overall vibe and feeling that you're looking for, because the vibe in Destin is considerably different than the vibe in Navarre Beach, let's say, or even Navarre. So we want to just kind of lay everything out so that we can figure out exactly the vibe that you're looking for. Every single town here is a little bit different in the feeling that you're going to get, the sense of community that you're going to get, the type of community that you're going to get, and just overall the way of life in each city is just a little bit different. And that's actually one of the best parts about the Emerald Coast in general, is if you don't like the vibe you're in, but you just absolutely love the beaches and everything else this has to offer, well, you can just move over to another beach or to another area, another town, and it will be a completely different experience. I want to give you a quick example of what I mean by this. Let's take 2 completely polar opposite vibe or areas. We've got Crestview and 30A. Now 30A is the more luxurious portion of our Emerald Coast, and it's right on the water. There's a bunch of different beaches. You can go from one beach town to another, and it just completely feels different. Whereas going into Crestview, you're going to be a little bit further away from the beach, about 45 minutes, sometimes up to an hour, depending on where you're at in Crestview. But the housing is going to be a lot cheaper. It's going to be a little bit closer sense of community and more of a small town rural feel. These are in the same area and they're just 45 minutes apart. That is one of the beauties of this, well, beautiful area. In fact, this is one of my favorite parts of the entire buyer consultation process, because sometimes people move here with a pretty good idea of where they want to move. In fact, we just had somebody recently reach out. It was about 2 or 3 months ago, and they just closed on their home about a week or so ago. They'd been visiting Destin for years and years and years and years and years and years. Their family was doing it when they were kids, and she's been doing it since she was an adult. And after kind of figuring out exactly what type of lifestyle she's looking for, we actually ended up finding out that Fort Walton Beach was a little bit better of an option than Destin. You still get all of the great amenities, great beaches, all of this great stuff, but now you get more of a hometown feel versus like a tourist feel over there in Destin. And then of course you're just 15 minutes away, maybe 20 minutes, again, depending on where you're at in Fort Walton, to Destin anyway. So she could enjoy all of the amenities and all of the great things that her and her family used to do in Destin while still living in Fort Walton Beach, saving a little bit of money on housing, and then overall finding the type of community she wanted to engulf herself in. This is exactly why it is so important to do this consultation. Now, that's just one portion of the consultation in general. We're also going to go over what you want in the property that you're looking for. As I said before, whether it's a condo, a townhome, how many beds, baths, we really dive deep into that so that we're not spending an absorbent amount of time running around seeing properties and then the one that you really love falls through your fingers because we didn't do our job right. This is one thing that sets us apart from a lot of other companies in general, a lot of other real estate companies, is that we dive deep deep in the beginning so that we're not trying to guess as we are running around showing properties, because you've got limited time when you're coming down here to home shop, and we want to maximize that time as much as possible. And then lastly, in the buyer consult, we are going to go over the process in general. I do not like surprises, so my team and I are very adept at making sure no surprises happen. We want to make sure that everything is laid out in front of you and you know what the next steps are. And we do this throughout the process as well, but we like to go over it right there at the consultation table so that you know what you're getting into and to make sure that this is a good move. One of the worst things that can happen is if you start selling your house wherever you're at and prepping to move down here and find out the process is a lot worse than you thought it was going to be, and that maybe it doesn't even work in your favor. Now, that, of course, is extremely rare, but we just want to make sure that we're preventing those kinds of things and make the process as smooth as possible for you. Now, once we've got that done, we move over into step 2. Step 2 is kind of a variable step. It really kind of depends on what we figure out in the buyer consult on how we handle step 2. But for most people, because they reach out to us so early, which is good, that's what you want to do. So if you're 6 months to a year out and you're thinking, this is too early to call Mongo, don't worry, it's not too early. You definitely want to get this started. In fact, I'm going to put up all of my information right here on the screen, so you can call, text, email me, or reach out to us on social media. Or of course, there is a Calendly link down below in the description that you can click on and get right onto my calendar. So it's never too early. In fact, we sometimes get people reaching out to us as early as 2 years out. And I actually think this is a really good thing. When it first started happening, I was actually like, all right, guys, this might be a little bit too early. But as we started doing this more and more and getting more calls from you guys here on YouTube, I realized it was actually a really good thing because they could start building the relationship with their agent and then really hone in exactly where they want to go. And then more importantly, watch the housing prices over those 2 years. So that leads me into the step 2, which for most people is getting a customized home search set up for them. Now, the only time we don't do this is if you are calling us pretty late in the process and you're ready to home shop as soon as you come down to see us or do the consultation, and you're ready to kind of start the actual home shopping portion, then we generally skip this portion and we do this with you in person, where we pull up the multiple listing service and all of our off-market property deals and things like that, because we do have off-market, we do have pocketed listings that haven't hit the market yet that we are allowed to show you guys once we sit down and do a consult. We're not allowed to show you that stuff without it because of the new rules and stuff that happened in August in our industry, but we can do that. And so if you're ready to home shop right then, we're just going to lay everything out on a platter, dig into what you said you wanted, and then we're going to sift through those, pick out the best 3 to 5 properties, and then go show those, whether it's electronically, where we're going to show it through you on, FaceTime or on Zoom or something like that, or if you're going to fly in to see those. But for a lot of people, because they do reach out a little bit earlier, which we like, because you can kind of get to know the market a little bit, we're going to set up a customized home search based on everything that we talked about in the buyer consultation process. We're going to custom build a plan for you that is going to send you properties every single day or as they hit the market that match your exact criteria. Now, this process isn't always the exact property that you're looking for, because there's not everything that we can put into a search for you. We try to do our best for sure, but there's human error involved, and sometimes other agents don't put their listings into the system correctly. And so we think we're sending you a 3-bedroom with an office, and we find out it's actually just a 3-bedroom with, let's say, a Florida room in the back because the agent didn't input it into the system perfectly. But nonetheless, about 90% of the time, the houses are exactly, or condos or whatever it is, are exactly what you're looking for. And that's what we're trying to do. And we're trying to do it in that area, in the price range, in the comfortability zone of wherever your finances are, whatever your dreams are and wants are. It's not necessarily dictated by finances. I almost never suggest for somebody to cap out on whatever they can actually afford or what a lender says they can afford. In fact, I generally suggest they go a little bit lower so that you can actually enjoy some of the great things about the Emerald Coast and not just be locked inside of your home because, well, the payment's a little bit higher than you wanted it to be. So finding a nice, comfortable area is definitely my favorite spot to be in, but of course, it's 100% up to you. So we set up this search for you, and we start sending it to you consistently, whether it's a couple of times a week or even every day, depending on where you're at in the process. If you're further out, if you're 6 months to a year out, we might be only sending them once a week just because we want you to get to know the vibe, or not the vibe, but the pricing in general of like, oh, okay, cool. In this part of Destin, houses are a little bit more expensive than over here, right? Like I'm looking in Kelly Plantation and it's like, wow, these houses are, considerably more expensive than going into West Destin. That's interesting to know. And those are the things that we want you guys to see as well, so that when you are ready to home shop with us and you're jumping in our vehicle or you're following us in your rental or whatever it is, that you kind of already have an idea on the different neighborhoods, what it looks like around there, and you've done a little bit of research on your own. So you're not just hearing it from us, you're also seeing it for yourself. Now, sure, you can try to do some of this search on Zillow or Realtor.com and these places, or of course you can go to our website, emeraldgrouphomes.com. The emeraldgrouphomes.com or any of the sites that I just mentioned, they're going to have everything that's active on the multiple listing service that has an IDX feed that allows it to be on these platforms. What a lot of people don't understand is that that's not all of the homes for sale. In fact, there's a good chunk of homes missing. This is exactly why we want to go through our process, so that we can make sure that you've got everything that you need, so that you're seeing the most homes available and that you can make the best decision for you and your family. All right, that moves us on into step number 3. Step number 3 is a very important one, and one that often people just kind of throw to the wind, and that is finding the right lender. I've got a lot to say about this, but I'll try to be short on this. A lot of folks, especially when you're relocating, they've got a lender maybe back in their hometown, wherever they're moving from, or they're using one of the big banks. They went online and they saw this outstanding rate from whatever, mortgage.com or veteran, whatever. I'm not going to name the companies, but they see this great teaser rate, and what they don't realize is that they are getting absolutely wrecked in the fees. So that's number one. I've got a big pet peeve about this. This is something I want to jump on a 5-minute rant on, because I just watched it. I just sat in a closing yesterday, and we didn't have the buyer. We had the seller, fortunately, on this one. So it wasn't our client getting hurt, but the other client was using one of these massive mortgage lenders that you find online, that they don't have a physical office to go into or anything like that. And they got demolished. Just like, I'm talking about 7 times the amount of dollars they should have been spending to close for this company so that they can get this great rate. All they're doing is moving the rate over and then charging an absorbent amount of fees so that you can get the same rate that you would get from a local lender here. And sometimes our local lenders even beat those rates with far less fees. So I highly suggest you go with somebody local. And this is something we talk about in the buyer consultation portion. And we're going to give you 3 to 5 people, generally 3 though, that we think is best for your situation. We work with these lenders day in and day out. I know what their fees are off the top of my head. I know where their interest rates are, and I know what they specialize in more so, which is so important, especially if you're thinking about buying a condo or a townhome or an HOA community. A lot of lenders cannot lend on our condos and our HOA communities out here. Now, we don't have a whole lot of the HOA communities, but condos are very, very prevalent. And even some of the homes, because we've got the entire state of Florida in a flood zone. I put that in quotations because any bordering state, any state that is touching the ocean or water of some massive sort, they're considered a flood zone for the whole state. It's just how this country works. And Florida is one of those. You might not be in a flood zone where you need flood insurance, but all of Florida is. And so that's just one of many, many issues that could cause problems with another lender that isn't super familiar with our market. That's why here it is so stinking important to make sure that you're going with somebody local that knows what they're doing, even if you're buying a single family home and it's pretty cookie cutter. We want to make sure that you're getting the specialist that makes sense for you. And on top of that, their fees are going to be a lot lower. And most importantly, might not be most importantly, I think the fees are pretty dang important. But very importantly, I can go kick their door down if they're messing something up, which of course the people that we suggest don't generally do that, but mistakes could happen. And if that does, I can go kick a door in. I can't do that at the big bank that is only online, that doesn't actually have a physical office anywhere. I'm just calling and hoping this person's going to call me back. And what's worse is a lot of these bigger lenders, you'll be surprised to hear this, or a lot of folks will be, some of them won't even talk to us as the real estate professional. I can't make this stuff up. They make the process so difficult that they say, I'm only talking to my client, which is the buyer, which is you. I'm only talking to them. I won't talk to the title company. I won't talk to the lender. And then, so you're having to relay everything. Your job isn't to be relaying everything that a lender should be doing. Your job is to be moving from your home into your new home and starting your new life. And we try to make this process as easy as possible. But if you're using one of these big banks that are requiring that you run everything through me, and maybe you forget something to tell us and it causes a delay in closing, you could lose thousands of dollars if the seller decides to walk away from the deal because you couldn't hit a deadline because your lender wasn't very good at it. And what's so crazy is these bigger banks, with the amount of volume that they're doing, they're still consistently being late. This property that I saw close yesterday that I was saying with the, almost $9,000 of just random lender fees. This wasn't even them buying points down. This was like a $4,000 origination fee for a VA borrower, which is insane. They normally waive that. All of our local lenders waive that. You're already $4,000 behind and your interest rate isn't even good. And so even with all of these things, they still were so late to the closing. We were over a month and a week late, and it had nothing to do with us or the title company or anything else except this lender because they wouldn't answer the phone and we could not get through to them. So I know I'm a little bit passionate about this. You can probably hear it in my voice, and it is because it is that dang important. It is so stressful for everybody involved when your closing is getting pushed back. And then you get to the closing table and you're irate because you're like, what the heck is going on? I was expected to pay this amount and we run the numbers for you. But with these big banks, if they don't talk to us and they don't give us a fee sheet and we don't know what they're charging, we're just trying to do our best. It's their job to show you what you're bringing to the table. And then they sit there and they go, well, heck, they told me I was only going to need X dollars to come to the closing, and it's 3 times that amount now that I'm sitting here in front. That is not a surprise you want to get on closing day. When you're trying to move your family across the country, it's not good. So I'll jump off my high horse on this now. I know I get a little bit heated about it because it hurts me so much to watch our clients get hurt. I don't like it. It's not fun for me. It's not fun for my team. We want to make this as smooth as possible. So please, definitely call us about that lender. Obviously, if you call us and we go through this process, you'll go through the consultation, then you'll get a search set up. And then when time is right, we will tell you, hey, here's the lender that I think is best for you. Here's 2 or 3 to call so you can kind of pit them together if you wanted to do that. And then this way, the process is nice and smooth. And if there is any hiccups, I can go, give them a little backhand. I'm not going to slap a lender. That would be mean. Anyway, now that my blood pressure has dropped a little bit, we move on to step 4 in the process, which is the best part. There's actually kind of like a hidden 5th step that I'm just now thinking I should have added into this, but I'm just going to roll it into step 4 here. So step 4 is finalizing the details and actually making the move. So we start this with actually going to go see properties, whether we're, as I kind of alluded to earlier, whether we're doing it electronically with you, we've got you on FaceTime, we've got you on Zoom, and we're showcasing all of these homes, or whether you fly in or drive in, depending on where you're at, and you decide that, okay, great, I want to see these in person. We're going to go see them. It's about a 2.5 hour day for each set of 5 homes that we do. We don't like to see more than 5 homes because everything gets all like jumbled in. You start forgetting, and then we got to schedule more, and we might lose the house in that process. But so it generally takes about 2 to 3 hours somewhere in there to look at all of the homes. And once we select the home that we love, we're going to start negotiating on your behalf. We're going to draft up the offer. And then from there, we're going to take that once we are under contract. And all of this stuff, by the way, you're going to be notified of every step of the process. This is one thing that I didn't get when I bought my first home. Before I became a real estate professional, I was in the military living here, and I bought a house in 2011. And my agent was great. Don't get me wrong. I still know him today. He's not a real estate agent anymore. He's now a lender. But everything was just, I was in the dark. I didn't know what was going on. It took him 9 months to close my property, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. It was a short sale that I bought, but throughout the whole process, there was a 3-month period. I didn't hear from him a single time. It was insane. I cannot believe this. So we want to make sure that this process is nice and smooth. And so we're going to let you know every step of the way, hey, here's where we're at and here's where we're going. That's going to be reflected from your agent, whether you're working with me or somebody else on the team. And it's also going to be reflected from our client coordination team or client care team, where they're sending out the emails. It's our transaction coordinator. You'll work very close with her, and she will be sending out emails saying, hey, here's what's next. Here's what's next. So you'll be in close communication with everybody, as little or as much as you would like, so that there are no missteps and you don't don't go several days or weeks without hearing from us, because that is not a good way to do business. All right, so we've got this. We go through the whole process, and finally the day of closing arrives. Awesome. This is the day you're going to get your keys in hand. We're going to high five you. Maybe there's an awkwardly long hug involved, but nonetheless, obviously, if you don't want to be hugged, we're not going to hug you. But you kind of get the point. This is the fun day, okay? This is where champagne's being popped and there's confetti in the air. It's just awesome because you're going to get the keys to your new home and be able to start your new life here. But that's not where our job ends. Surprisingly enough, a lot of people think, okay, great, I'm never going to hear from my real estate professional again. That's not generally the case. In fact, a lot of times we build lifelong friendships with our clients because you guys are watching us on YouTube primarily. You already know us. And so because of that, you're choosing us because you like us, which then in turn means we're going to like you because, well, we're similar people. It's not because you're calling us and, doing business with us. It's because you like us. And therefore, when we meet you, we're like, oh, shoot, you're our people. And we're always saying that with this. So by the way, thank you for all of you guys. If there's any of our past clients and stuff watching, like you guys know already, like the lifelong friendships that we've made. So anyway, from that point on, there's going to be client events and stuff like that, friend events. I don't even like calling them client events because at this point, we get to spend so much time together and we get to know you guys so much that, we're just getting together as friends. In fact, we're doing one here in just a couple of weeks, our big annual Christmas party, which is my absolute favorite one of the year. But so there'll be stuff like that going on. But before all of that happens, you need to start the moving process. So now it's about getting movers, if that's what you're doing, or getting a U-Haul or what have you. And this is what's so cool about this entire process. I didn't even mention this before, so this is sort of a little bonus tip for anybody that actually made it this far in the video. Thank you. Here's your little bonus thing. In our buyer consultation process, we have a buyer advantage program that's specific for you guys here watching on YouTube. And of course, some of our other, folks and friends and stuff that we know, where we've got I think it's 9 different things that we kind of promise to you guys and give you guys. And so some of that is like moving boxes. We provide a U-Haul in case you guys are moving like kind of close. We provide a coupon for that. And most of the time it will cover the entire U-Haul. But of course, if you're moving from like California to here, it's not going to cover it. That's just a little bit too much. And we can hook you up with movers. We can hook you up with the plumbers and the electricians and handymen to get your house all set up and, somebody to move your sweet hot tub or like whatever the thing is. We've got all of those things for you. And in that Buyer Advantage program, like I said, there's 9 different things, and I'm only going over 2 of those 9. So you'll have to call us and go through the consultation process to hear what the rest of the things are, but you will not be disappointed. We want to make this as smooth as possible for you. We appreciate you guys for trusting us, and that is sort of our gift back. We want to make sure that we are doing that. So once you've moved in, a couple weeks go by, start getting settled in, getting the kids in school, showing the dog all the dog parks, going outside, going to the beach, kayaking, whatever it is that you're doing to make your dream a reality. That from that closing table, getting your keys all the way on, that's exactly what's going on. So we'll reach out from time to time and kind of check in on you. Obviously, we become friends with a lot of our clients and stuff that call us. So, it's not like you're a real estate agent calling in and be like, you ready to sell that thing? We're just actually checking in on you, seeing how things are going, seeing if you need anything, seeing if you need anyone for your home, or otherwise if you need a job. If, there's a lot of different things we can provide. We do communicate with people for a living and we network for a living. So use us to your advantage and make the Emerald Coast more than just a vacation spot, make it your home. I'm going to go ahead and throw all of my contact information up on the screen again. Our website is emeraldgrouphomes.com. You can follow us on social as well, particularly if you'd like some of the behind the scenes stuff. And here's another bonus for you. If you guys are curious on what the market is doing, reach out to us or comment down below newsletter, and we will get you on our monthly newsletter where I do a 10 to 20 minute video breaking down the real estate market, not only globally, or I guess nationally, because I can't do globally. I don't have the resources for that, but not only nationally, but also local. And I kind of go over what interest rates are projected to do, what the professionals are saying, what the economists are saying, and kind of where it looks like we are headed in a certain direction. We do that every single month on the 21st of the month. All you've got to do is, like I said, comment down below newsletter, or you can reach out to us and just say, hey, I heard about this newsletter you guys have. We'll get you on it. It also gives you access to our little discount card, which is super cool. You've got discounts for, I think, like 70 major brands, like, you know, Michael's and Lowe's. And I don't know if these are the actual ones, but like a bunch of these bigger companies, as well as a bunch of our local companies here. So you get access to all of that. All you got to do, like I said, is comment newsletter, reach out to us on DM, and just let us know, hey, you know, I want to get on the newsletter. And anyway, all of my information up on the screen. You can call, text, email, however you want to get a hold of us. I super appreciate it. If you're not subscribed already, definitely subscribe. You know, a lot of folks find us just from the homepage, but, you know, that subscribe button, make sure that you don't miss any videos. We do one every single week on Tuesday. So if you're watching this on a Wednesday, Tuesday, whatever, I appreciate you. It's awesome. If this is the first time you're seeing me, awesome. That's really cool. Glad you found us. I'm going to stop rambling now, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one.